Okay, thank you for joining us. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, there being none, we'll move into the adoption of minutes from our public meeting held January 16th. Can I get a mover? Move and support. Dan? All in favor? And that carries. No presentations or delegations today, so C1, which is the 2023 OAPSB Zone 6 annual membership fees, and there is a recommendation there in front of you. Any questions or comments about that? No? I can get a mover on that. Dan, are you? All in favor? And that carries as well. Item D1, online property auction for November 2022. Anything to add to that, Chief?
Nothing to add.
So the recommendation is that the memorandum from Chief Davies dated March 1st, 2023 regarding LaSalle Police Service online property auction held November 1st, 2022 to November 11th, 2022 be received for information. If I can get a mover on that. Moved by Deputy Mayor, support, right? All in favor? Okay. Item 2, collection of identifying information in certain circumstances, 2022 annual report.
The annual report, well, it's a memo by Staff Sergeant Mike Foreman to our Deputy Chief Jason Woods regarding the circumstances in which we collected information from individuals on the road. And there is a total number of collections for 2022 is 0.
Any questions on the report itself or, sorry, how it works?
Anyone have any questions about that? There being none. Okay, so if I can get a motion to receive, that's a receiver on that one. Yes, receive that report as well. We have Dan and Mike. And all in favor? Okay. Item 3, Missing Persons Act 2022 Form 7 Annual Report.
Just on the annual report, it's a requirement under the Ontario Regulation 182.19. It does ask for when, or circumstances of when we would acquire information from different telecommunications companies or photo information or whatever that we would use to in our missing persons investigation. As you can see in the Form 7 report that's attached, there were 6 occasions where we used a telecommunications company to track the location of an individual. And that was reported to the ministry as required.
Thank you very much. Any questions regarding that? There being none on that either, so we'll get a motion to receive that. Marie and Dan? All in favor? Okay. LaSalle Police Services 2023 Community Charity Golf Tournament and 2022 LaSalle Police Youth Foundation Financial Statement.
Just on the financial statement, the first page does show the type of donation or sponsorships that we make for the 2022 calendar year. And we do have the new golf tournament scheduled for July 17th, 2023 at Essex Golf and Country Club this year as well. The following pages do explain the revenue or do highlight the revenue that was taken in for the tournament and also the expenses.
Thank you. Any questions? I have one. So there's several great causes on here. How do you determine who you're donating to each year? Do people apply or is it done through?
Yes, they can apply. We do have a committee that's made up of members from our service as well as the community, and they do have make a decision on who would benefit from it. There was originally it was targeted towards the youth in our community. So specifically, if there was some equipment that we could buy for a special, say, a hockey team, that kind of thing, or if in the past we've also identified different organizations that actually help out youth. So if you, let me just find it on page number, excuse me for 1 second here. On page number 46, it shows for the 2022 Youth Foundation Golf Tournament, 3 beneficiaries were the Windsor Essex Therapeutic Riding Association, which does quite a bit of work with PTSD as well as handicapped youth, and St. Andrew's Food Bank for $5,000, and again, that does help directly sponsor families within our community. And again, for the third one was $5,000 to a LaSalle family that was from Ukraine that had relocated to LaSalle. So we identified those 3 areas as a target for our golf tournament last year.
Great, thank you very much. If I can get a motion to receive the information presented. Mike and Dan, all in favor? And that carries as well. D5, Crime Stoppers Coordinator and Statistical Report for January and February of 2023.
Just one comment on that is if you look through each of the pages, their drugs continue to generate the most tips, and from January, February, there was $3,100 paid in rewards. Out of that, $111,000 worth of drugs were seized. So again, the cost benefit, if you look at the cost benefit analysis in that, certainly paying out tips to recover stolen property or cash or drugs certainly does quite. We certainly appreciate our partnership with Crime Stoppers as our law enforcement partners, but they certainly do a fantastic job. And the money that's raised, I believe they have different fundraisers throughout the year. They have a golf tournament as well. And I used to do a wild game dinner at one point. I'm not sure if that's on again, but again, those fundraisers are used for those rewards.
Any questions on stats? Go ahead.
Just curious, what percentage of these would apply to LaSalle?
It's some of these are not specific to us in particular. I believe that would be intelligence information that would keep separate, but it wouldn't specifically apply. This would just be a general for Crime Stoppers for our area. Again, it's for protection of the tipster themselves as well, so we want to try to keep that information as private as possible.
Any other questions? Okay, if we can get a motion to receive that as well. And Mike, all in favor? Okay, that carries. LaSalle Police Services monthly stats for December 2021, 2022, and January 2022, 2023.
Just a couple of highlights for coming into the new year for the January 2022 comparable to January 2023. You can see there's been an increase in the number of calls for service, CAD calls for service, the number of an increase in our number of records management service records management system occurrence reports, as well as criminal charges laid. But significantly, if you look at our traffic charges as well as our warnings and cautions are up significantly. And again, we can attribute that to our redeployment of our resources, having a second traffic enforcement officer that was out there. And again, our profile and our social media presence, we certainly try to get those stories out as far as our interaction with people and trying to get people to slow down and obey the rules of the road.
Thank you very much. Questions on the statistics presented? 264 increased calls for service is a large number. Have we seen jumps like that in the past?
One of the differences in the CAD calls between LaSalle and Windsor is we try to track the traffic stops. It's a difference between our old records management system and the new one. The reason for that is it allows us to report on the number of stops that we actually are doing. So for the traffic unit itself, it helps us compile how many vehicles were stopped along with how many charges were laid. So when I look back and I took out the vehicle stops, there was a slight increase, but it wasn't as much as you're seeing there.
Okay, any other questions? No? Motion to receive the LaSalle Police Service monthly stats. And we have Mike and Dan again. All in favor? Okay. LaSalle Police Service financial statement for December 2022, the draft.
Just one thing to add on to that one. The operating variance report that was received from the Finance Department does indicate there's an additional $6,000 in grant funding that was received for 2022. So the first number on the very top of page 63 does show grants at 279, 163. That should actually be 285, 163. So there has been an increase there as well.
Any other questions for the financial statement? We're really quiet today, I guess. Okay, motion to receive this one as well. Marie and Dan. All in favor? And that carries as well. Item 8, LaSalle Police Services Board Financial Statement, December 2022 and January of 2023. I don't know if there's anyone has any questions or concerned about that report. There being none, if I can get a motion to receive that information as well. We have Mike and Marie. All in favor? That carries. Any questions or statements by board members? No? Nothing. All right, so our upcoming meeting is scheduled for April 17th at 4:30 is our committee and 5 is a public meeting. Otherwise, we will get a motion. Do we need a motion to adjourn or can we just adjourn? We adjourn. Thank you very much.